listen to her. It has been the greatest, I would say, teacher of my life. And recently, there's been a lot of talk, talk and sharing on forums and amongst other friends about this passage or this correction that we might say that our planet and our humanity is moving through right now. Exciting, challenging, I think it does take all of us. So recently heard Radagast was made a little, you started making your own videos, right?
That's correct, on the 20th, on the new moon.
Cool. Yeah, and so, for me, about maybe a year ago, I had this really urge, like, start speaking, start letting your voice join in with the voices of others. And perhaps that's what you're responding to also. This is not a movement of celebrity or elitism in any way. This is very, it's very grassroots. I think that fits pretty appropriately with the idea of Gaia herself. And I feel that many of us are without even making much effort or merging into some field of understanding or some field of intelligence here that's guiding us. And that's what's brought about this conversation. So I'm very happy to be sharing with another brother and another sister on this magnificent journey. We spoke a little bit yesterday. I don't know, Radagast, do you want to just go ahead and lead off what's moving you into this at the moment?
Oh, yes, my little catchphrase came into this is called, I said, joining the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And that conversation would be anything relevant to the consciousness that's arising. And I tie in very much with, personally, my own personal thing is I consider myself Gaian. And that has there's a lot of depth there. My introductory video was Paradigm Disruption. Gaia is our God.
Wow. Say that again. Just say that. I love these phrases because that's another aspect of rephrasing our language so we can get deeper. So paradigm disruption. And then what did you say? We're getting a little interference on the call.
Paradigm disruption, Gaia is our God.
Beautiful. Wow.
And I wasn't quite sure what my first was going to be, and I pulled the rune for counsel.
Mm-hmm.
And the rune that came up was Hagalaz, and that's the rune of disruption.
Yeah.
And at first I wasn't quite sure, and then as soon as I went, whoa, this is huge. This is, because the paradigm that I was disrupting is that our allegiance goes out somewhere.
Exactly.
Even if it's everywhere and it's within us, there is still this kind of beyond the biosphere, I'll call it, of in the heavens.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of soul energy almost has been connected in there. And it's not ill-founded to connect there, but when I realized and connected into the aeonic consciousness of Gaia that's here in our planet, making us so unique in our galaxy, if not the universe. When I plugged into that, it was another experience of what God is. Beautiful. I mean, suddenly God was God.
So knowable. Tangible.
Noble, palpable, all the things that we had kind of felt, but in the absolute organic, holographic way that it exists.
Mm-hmm. Right. Beautiful. Yeah.
Emerging into the reality that was actually created for us and connecting into that creation and into that form of gnosis.
Yeah. It's so beautiful because I believe this is what we would call an experiential spirituality. This is not a conceptual spirituality that stays high up there and, weaves these very high ideas. I don't have anything wrong with that, but really as beings here on this world, in this duality, on this planet, in this beauty, we came here for experience.
Well, you hear busted duality because duality is nonsense.
Say that again, please.
We're here to bust the duality because duality is the false. That's the tree of good and evil. It's everything is always like there's only two choices. The tree of life, as I call it, and it's symbolized in here, the actual correct way that the peace symbol should be. Okay, so in the tree of life, what we have between the choice between good and evil is we have the creation zone between polarity, where our true organic God reality exists.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So in the tree of life, we realize it's about making our own path. It's not coming to a choice of either or in duality thinking at all times. It's about inventing the middle, seeing beyond the duality and creating.
Right. Well,
and this is the way the peace sign is supposed to be. This way is actually an Illuminati thing to take away our power of protection. And this is the law made 2012 in China. And this is a complete negation of the protection of this rune and what it stands for. And then here you can even see, if you follow John Lash's work, you can see VV. And if you know, VV was a code for her name.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you can also see a woman standing. You can see, the lower half. I mean, anyway. So beyond duality, busting duality is connecting to Gaia. Gnosis is beyond duality.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. When we talk about busting duality, by and of itself, we have to be speaking about an inner journey. We can't bust duality out there in the outer world. We have to find that non-duality inside ourselves.
There's no, if you make that's a polarity you just created.
Uh-huh. You mean the inner and the outer? Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's a continuum, and we should be in the continuum.
Right. But I was speaking really to...
Biasing, you're biased towards one or the other, but there's the real seamlessness that busts that as a concept.
Right. Well, let me go into it a little deeper in my own experiences with it. Is, we do have inner outer vision. We close our eyes and our attention, our state of awareness goes inside. When we're looking out, we're looking out. All those things exist in all of it. What I was just, getting to for myself was that I had to achieve a point of awareness in my own being that wasn't dual. And that's what I meant about having it in that wholeness held within yourself. Because and prior to very recently, my mind automatically would go to right or wrong, negative, positive, yin or yang. And now I found that there's this emergence within, and we talked about this the other day, within the heart chamber, where those two, whatever that duality thing merges here, and it is no longer. But for most of the world, they're still living very locked into the paradigm or the matrix of the dual. And
I think it starts from within and then moves gradually outward as we grow in knowledge, rather than actually, as Rad said, creating this duality. It doesn't end when we start from within, but it has to start somewhere, and then it goes outward, and the ripple effect then takes place.
Right. Right.
I would like to say, Christine, when I go into some of my passionate tirades, they're actually directed not at you.
Okay. Yeah.
Even if I'm responding, it seems like I'm responding to you. Okay. I'm aware that this is going out to an audience. I'm always going to speak that way. Okay. So please know that.
Oh yeah, and I don't take it personal. I'm just answering. It's that energetic interchange that we reach for, where one or two or three of us are speaking to the same state. So right, yeah, I get it. Thank you. I do respond. I do respond. So we were talking. We've been speaking a bit, and I think this is where I'd like to ask you to maybe some of the things you've already spoken about, but going deeper into what you say is Gaia is our God, that aspect of it, and what does that mean, or what does that ask for? What gets poured out of this place that's inside of ourselves? You find an essential aspect of yourself in connection with this. What is it asking for? What does it feel like? What does it tell you?
It's just the most organic thing. It's really almost like grafting your sign onto a stock. And it's, I mean, this isn't about religion. This isn't about worship. This is just about connecting into the true matrix, you know, based on mantra. Mm-hmm. The true matrix is Gaia's creation. The world we're experiencing, the matrix that I put in the movie, is the false matrix, and largely composed by duality. The news, I mean, the main programming, the main tube is presented always in duality, and that's the main construct of the matrix is duality thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and everything that is engenders us to always be in that duality thinking, or to think that we have an enemy outside of ourselves, or keep us in that back and forth between two states of all the time. And so in our inner knowing state, we recognize that's non-existent, actually. That's what I'm finding is happening to many people right now is they're listening. Listening is also another factor in this, to the finer attunement or atonement of ourselves. We're actually reformatting or destructurizing a paradigm, and at the same time we're starting to visualize or dream into existence something else, something that we probably don't know what it is going to look like yet. Do you feel that this is exponentially happening right now in consciousness, or is it still a big struggle for a lot of us?
It is as big a struggle as you make it. Mm-hmm. And this is all part of God, Sophia's correction. Mm-hmm. Awakening starting at 2012, and then last March, correction beginning. And I have seen the correction has been enormous, and especially if you're watching the world scene and you realize the time. I mean, once again, these are tectonic movements, but if you're looking for tectonic movements, there's plenty of movement. Mm-hmm. And so this is a part of the correction. There is, even if you want to take it to just how everybody kind of knows that Earth and humanity is somehow part of some cosmic importance. Mm-hmm. And the cosmic importance is who we are, what we're connected to, and what we're capable of. And the paradigm that we can grow into, who we really are in our gnosis, if we could be those beings, because that's what comes to understanding, like being a part of God. You're just part. I mean, you're like in the body now, so you receive nutrition as you need it. There's no data dump. But you're suddenly in a system that treats you like a system. It's like being in a body, and suddenly you're bathed as you need. I mean, it's an organic merging with a cosmic intelligence that differentiates itself from other cosmic creative intelligences, and got involved with the creation from a normally aeonic hands-off perspective. She put her hands on us. And this is unique, and this is why the focus is on Earth. I call it the anthropos gonna pop.
Okay.
Because when we pop, well, we now are true sovereigns on the planet we're supposed to be, because that's part of gnosis.
Yes. So
we might find that there are other races here that have an equal claim, but we might have to work out some arrangement with. Mm-hmm. But we do it as sovereigns in full gnosis. Mm-hmm. And that's something that anybody that you go on to ET races, their main concern is, oh my God, we might have to deal with these people as equals. And that is joyful for some and freaks a bunch of them out.
Right. Wow. I'm going to bring Karelia into the conversation a little bit, because the way she and I met each other was through a discovery of a healing modality directly related to Gaia. So when we, through our experiences together as a small group of us, moving into this field of intelligence is really what it is, or you can call it a cosmic intelligence. I mean, cosmic consciousness is actually palpable right now. We found that by listening and giving ourselves to this beautiful being that were actually our mother. We were part of a dance that she was directing, and we found ourselves in great fields of balance and joy. At the same time, we were actually moving into direct opposing forces that didn't want this to happen. You brought up the alien agenda, and how we harmonically, and please, Karelia, please take over for a moment, how we were acting as almost homeopathic or immune responses with Gaia. And that was something that I hadn't found before, and that's actually how we got into John Lash's work. You're such a beautiful musical being, Karelia, so you want to just a little bit of how that happened for us.
I can only speak from the musical point of view, but it was like the sounds that are all around us was at places and at times it was disharmonic, and then suddenly, as we observed, it turned harmonic, and everything just became absolutely beautiful. I don't think I have the words to describe it.
Yeah, well, I just want to follow it a little bit because Radagast said to me, a couple of times now when we've spoken that it's like we're an immune response for Gaia. Mm-hmm. And this was an experiential experience that we're continuing to have, actually, where there was a group of us that would just hold this space, and we knew that we were in deep, deep contact with this beautiful field of intelligence. And just holding that field seemed to be enough to start resonance. And if there was something that was in disaccord or out of accord with this life-giving force, mm-hmm. call it love, that just our presence of holding that, we were able to be participants in changing that. And like when you were saying the tectonic movements on the planet, where sometimes it feels like she just wants to like burst at the seams, you can enter into that. It is a deepening into it, and she rejoices to us. There's nothing to keep us from doing that with her.
Exactly.
The joy of reunion is it's the biggest hit when you first hit it. You feel it.
It is.
But then it's business. The joy of being part of this. And I think one of the things that is important to avoid a little bit is speaking about what her plan is.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's personal to each of us.
Exactly. Why don't...
And to bring voice to it could bring discord. Because there will be, but by responding, once again, to where you need to be, then the only agreement you have to have is on what you're working on together, and not on what you think the divine plan is.
Yeah, there's really not thinking it in my experience.
It's feeling.
Go ahead. Yeah.
You feel your way around.
Feeling.
Yeah.
Feeling. It's as if our body, because we're so made from the same substance as this planet and the cosmos, mm-hmm. it's a feeling state. So you go into a feeling state where there is no doubt, fear, criticism. You're actually moving, and you said this already, Radagast, you're moving with it. You're fulfilling your participation. So thinking it isn't, and that might bring us into some of the differences that some of us are having. And again, there's a debt I have a feeling of a gratitude for John Lash and for his bringing this Gaian mythology into our consciousness. He put words on something I was experiencing, and I really thank him for that. And yet we all are, in sovereignty, really. It is about sovereignty, finding our own essence, our own participation. So not to get into contention or into conflict within ourselves. And we've spoken a little bit about that at Radagast. I wonder if you want to say a little bit about it right now.
Which part of that? Well, then I'll just respond to what I was thinking about. with the queen of a hive does not give orders to her daughters. Her daughters know what to do. Some of them go out in the field. Some of them take care of the babies, making sure what they're fed, constructing cones. There's no orders. There's just there's being a part of knowing.
Right.
And so, there's that fluidity from the kind of keeper of an organic plan, but also, her children are creators. She's expecting as this flow comes into us that we're just being autonomous, and we're thinking the brilliant thing that serves whatever is developing, and thinking on our own that, this would be a good addition, and then of course you'll have energy following into that, and you just keep on growing this organic web with the richness of our creation and our creativity, most importantly.
Yeah. And that is most importantly that aspect of imagination, imagination. Something that I would say that in the inorganic or the created reality matrix, all of our imaginations have been co-opted and focused into what do you want to call them? The cabal, the black magicians have co-opted the humanity's imagination, and yet we are so fundamentally creative.
Mm-hmm.
That expression of our creation, we need to be doing that. I think that's something that no matter where you are, whatever you think you're doing, we're all feeling, and we all feel that. That's fundamental to what we are.
And that whole program, even the creativity, by giving you so much overload of their creativity, it stifles your own creativity. You're constantly creating from your templates.
Exactly. So you go to a movie, or you listen to the music, or you watch the television. It actually captures the mind. Isn't that the basis of the mind parasite? A captured mind is not free.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also the constant recreation of the false matrix, right? Because the false matrix is created by us.
Exactly. We are co-opted into that creation. So unless we come to a state of sovereign awareness, take back our power, take back our uniqueness, and we all are to some degree still part of it, for sure. But I often think of when I'm wanting to speak to people, or when I speak to people, it's like, well, where are you still plugged in? Where are your beliefs? What do you do? There you go. Ironically there, the one thing that I was saying is really the question to any viewers listening to this is that deep introspection, contemplation that has to take place in the heart, and the courage is, where are you still buying into the matrix? What fear, what aspect, what belief, what don't you want to let go of? Where, what box, which prison are you still in? I have to ask myself that. I'm not throwing it out there as if, but I find more and more that, sure, we're still co-opted to some degree, and quite often a large majority of the conspiracy field theorist milieu can talk the talk, are not walking the walk. It takes a lot of courage to disconnect. So that's when I got cut off. So I got to say it again.
Well, for me, getting the Gaian connection allowed me to see what's organic, what's not, and also, again, to get out of polarity thinking. And this is all relatively recent, but it's been a month or so, and in that month or so, it has been a complete paradigm disruption.
Right.
And so basically you navigate the false matrix almost like large spider webs. You try not to get stuck on them. The biggest one is the legal system.
And money.
But the legal system is there to pull money out of you.
Right.
The whole thing is, the money is its own stickum, but I'm talking about there's some real trappy. Money's an insidious inner trap, but I'm talking about the ones that if you have a nice flow of money, you usually don't feel any kind of discomfort with that. You bump into one of those legal stickums, and it's never a pleasant ride.
Right. Right.
You know, you start seeing the matrix. I mean, you see everything for what it is. You see police for what they represent. You see government for what it represents. You see politics for what it represents. I mean, you see that it becomes completely impossible for any organism to have politics. It's impossible.
Yep. Exactly.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. That's part of the matrix.
Yeah, and I was thinking that exactly today, and this is what I love about sharing is that, you know, there's this intelligence that we really are tapping into. I was just thinking that there is no room for politics. Politics in and of itself is a control mechanism. It can't be anything else but that. Right? Yeah. So
I mean, imagine politics in a hive.
Exactly. And so you have whatever box you are, whether it's a corporation, your job, your city, your town, whatever that has a set of rules or politics, what you're allowed to say and not allowed to say, what you're allowed to emote and not emote. And so each step are unfolding in myself, certainly, and it is very recent to step out of that. I found myself up against the walls of a box. I said, wait a minute, I can't stay here anymore. I'm being boxed in here. And so to expand the consciousness is literally you have to go out of the box. And it entails a lot of, for me, there's a lot of suffering in that. There's a lot of pain in that. It's not an easy thing because you realize that you're having to leave behind some things that you've held near and dear for a long time. But when you can walk.
Some of those things are people.
Most of them are people. Most of them are, they're people. And you love them dearly, and I never stop loving. I mean, that's the expanded state of compassion. It's like you do, but it still hurts when you have to leave and you go through that. And then you start to realize that, you really don't ever leave anything anyways, but that's another story. But we feel it deeply, and we feel fear. What happens if I do this? What happens if I claim my authority? What happens if I become sovereign? We've been trained to be afraid of that, when actually in reality, that is the most magnificent and divine aspect of who we really are. So, I want to give my voice to that, empower anybody that has that courage, honor those that do. It's like it's a field of honor that we're on.
Yeah. It's a difficult personal road to take, because just like in the Matrix movie, when Morpheus takes Neo out into the street and he's just saying, these are the people of the Matrix, and they will defend it. Some of them will kill for it, and they don't want to be unplugged.
No,
and so, but those of us who do plug in, I'm at the point now where I'm getting very encouraged that those that were plugged in will be able to conduct the business that we need to conduct, and then the shift will be gradual. It's really important for those who sit out the shift that when it does shift, it's not traumatic.
Right. Yeah.
And one of the best ways for me to make it the least traumatic is if we could get control of the media.
Yeah.
And then softly shift it. It's not like one day, one day it's CNN and the next day it's Russia Today. But you just stop. First of all, you stop with the lies.
Right.
And then also a program. I mean, the people who are addicted to the tube could be completely brought to gnosis through the proper input.
Yes. Yeah. I'm working very much in that very vein right now. It's like a place that you look at it and where we can walk it through it. I mean, there is a certain aspect of hyper state of awareness to know what is next, and definitely it's very much so. So that's why these small groups. I mean, each one of us. I want to say, each one of us that will put out our voice, right? Well, we're not a mass movement that they can actually grab onto and direct into something else. We're spiritual warriors. We're independent. We're sovereign. Each of us is following that inner aspect of ourself, and yet we're connecting, and that's beautiful.
Right. Yes, we're joining the conversation in an organic fashion and creating its own energy, and without leaders.
Yeah.
idea contributors. Let's, just bring it up and let us all vote, not with a voting thing, but how we move. Or, once again, walk the walk. You don't need to talk the talk. And it's just a natural effervescence of, the anthropos and its creativity.
I love that. How many times, Claudia, have we said the word effervescent?
I stopped counting long ago.
Yeah, you see, this is the languaging or the reformatting that we're actually all going through, and at the same time we're how. And I believe what you say with all my being right now, that as we are bringing down this paradigm, it's not with abrupt, in your face. It's actually, we're bringing that consciousness and we're starting to bring it over into what is so wonderful, so beautiful, so magnificent, that why would anyone not want to be participating in it?
Mm-hmm.
Fear. And I will speak of my own personal fear.
Okay.
The last straw for me to break connecting to Gaia was realizing Gaia is God. Creator. Now, but when you get into the dynamics of Aeonic and how it connects, you understand that. But to keep it local and focused, once again, the what Sophia is doing is unique. Yes. It's not the aeons throw out recipes. Okay, and then they settle in the right thing and they develop and they're on their own. We're not on our own. And so what the most difficult part was always feeling some connection to quote unquote source, which of course it's there. And feeling like as if I was abandoning something, the sky gods, maybe the male portion of the god. There was a sense of like, ooh, you maybe better not do that. That's where you've always been.
Right. Beautiful.
And I remember the first time I just kind of engaged in any kind of a normal prayer, and I just turned my attention completely to my rootedness and said, hello, God. Mm-hmm. And the laughter that erupted on both sides.
Yeah.
I broke out in laughter on my side, yeah. Physically.
Yeah, I know.
And I felt laughter from the other side.
Yeah, I know. We know. It's so beautiful, because in the end, we're only using words to describe something that is actually so simple. It's so simple, it has escaped our ability to see it.
Yes. Exactly.
And,
But then when we couple that with the absolute suppression of Gaia as God, not only from the outside killing people who believed it, but the own mystery schools who would kill their own if they revealed it. And as I say in my thing, they're not worried about them revealing triangles and squares. And most people were too illiterate to understand geometry. The secret was Gaia is our God.
Mm-hmm.
And that had to be protected with the ultimate secrecy, because by the time we know of the historical mystery schools, the patriarchy had taken over, and that sense of empowerment, that sense of all our sovereignty, mm-hmm. had to be kept a secret.
Sure.
Under penalty of death.
Sure. And anyone that emerged out of that with to reveal to all, of course, they were hunted down and killed. I mean, that's a big part of our history. I think anyone that's been on this path for, I don't know, eons of time, perhaps, we're looking at here. And I agree, we are coming into something unique. This is unique. That is, even, you said that is fear, and that is absolutely, the ultimate to hurdle a quantum leap or whatever is to say, I'm going to leap into something unknown. I'm going to embrace it. I'm not going to depend on the prayers, the structures, the things of my past. That's it. It's a big challenge, and yet you find that you make that, and maybe we're going to have other leaps to make along the way here. But that first one is the big one. That's
getting ahead of ourselves. And that's what we do so often, is get to the next move before we've even explored this move. There's a certain chess-like thing to everything, but to not get lost in the future and always come back to the present where our power is. Mm-hmm. And we often get into flights of fantasy, you know, or even chasing the cosmos, you know, trying, okay, from Gaia to the Aeon, and there's other galaxies, and what can, oh, please, there's a dream happening here. Where are you going?
Wonderful, wonderful, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, exactly. Well, there is nowhere to go.
This is it. And also, like, if you're open to ETs, that's why they're all here. I mean, you listen to David Wilcock, he's saying it's like it's standing room only. There's ETs who never care about Earth that are here.
Right. Yes.
Because of what we can do, might do, and I think will do.
Right.
And it's a cosmic event.
Right. Well, I believe we will do. We are doing. It is the, you know, if you actually, you know, and I love this, and we have to put words onto feelings, but, you know, we're in a sea right now, a cosmic sea, and we're riding these cosmic waves. And when you get sensitive to them, they are the carriers of these frequencies. They're the carriers of what's coming through. And there's nothing more wonderful than learning to surf them, feel them, be part of that. And it isn't about getting ahead. I just say you just have to stay right in the curl, right in the sweet spot, you know, because, and that's holding that now space right here. And, you know, there are forces out there that want to drive us off of this, you know, but even if we tumble, we come back up. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, that's where our lack of sovereignty has hurt us the most, because without sovereignty, we don't have boundaries. So there's nothing to maintain. We're just an open field. Right. And in the yin-yang symbol, what you're really seeing is contained within a certain holographic game. You see this dynamic interplay, but it needs a defined boundary. And a part of autonomy is maintaining that boundary in a constant antagonistic pushing from the other side. But that's a testing. I mean, that's keeping us honest. That's making sure that our identity and who we think we are is always clear, and that boundary is demarked by us and policed by us. But it's not into perfect whiteness, because we need that antagonism. And even in the yin yang symbol, you see that little dark spot. Even if we didn't have we need something to drive the dynamism. Sure. And just constantly keep us on our toes and using our creativity, because the other side's going to probe what we might not have seen. And then once that is there, now we see it. Boop, fix. So this is actually a cosmic game where it's not so much what evil is, it's what we don't want. This is our organism, this is what's healthy for us, and that isn't. And we rebuff it. Right. It's not a fight. Yeah. It's an understanding of sovereignty, and then with will, establishing your boundaries. And if there's little skirmishes, a la immune system response, so be it. But again, it's all in, like, are you willing to stand up for yourself? Sure. And because you know who you are. You cannot stand up for yourself if you don't know who you are.
Well, exactly. What are you standing for? And I wanted to go back to something, and I'll just dive back in. As you said, we have an allegiance, you see, and that is something that is so important that people question in themselves. What am I giving allegiance to? And that bring that back to the point of view that you're making right now, is that if you do not know yourself, you cannot make allegiance to that. And, you know, I have adopted, you know, the Latin phrase that means adversary is the road to the stars, because that adversarial force is what I actually honor so much, is that it has been the very thing, that the dynamic that has been calling me, putting me through the cosmic forge, just kept me, as you said, honest, right? Honest first with myself. First with myself. What am I covering up? What do I want to hide? What do I don't want people to see about me? You know, what makes me uncomfortable about me? Until eventually you just going through the crucible, if you will, or the alchemy of your soul. I don't know, there's so many words and ways to express it, that out of that comes something, what I will only say is an essential knowingness of this, that I am, right, in all of this. And another way, one of the things that helped me so much on this journey was that I started to locate myself, my consciousness, my awareness in time and space. Now, And that is such an important aspect for anyone, because we're being pulled off into the myriads of different people's ideas, forms, but no, now. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to be experiencing and sharing with so many right now.
Well, accepting Gaia it was funny. It seemed like it was a step into the unknown. Then you step into gnosis, from the unknown into gnosis. And there is no real mystery, largely because once you're there, your focus is in creating our dream. The great mysteries are like, what? I'm busy. I'm busy. I don't need to figure out the universe. It's figuring this out.
Right.
And making it what it's supposed to be. This is a cosmic show and showing us what we can do. And even the other humanoid species are like, holy cow. I mean, this is there's almost like an ego thing. I mean, their superiority is at stake. not that this is about superiority, but some of them, kind of, oh, them. Oh yeah, oh us. Something to be reckoned with.
Right.
And that's, and so the connecting into Gaia is also it's not about, it's so different than any other connection. And also I feel like in all cultures generally, a mother might have different fathers, but they're all children of the mother. And you kind of trace your lineage to your mother.
Sure.
So even cosmically, my lineage is Sophia. And that's such a deep connection that you don't make in the sky. You don't make it source. You don't make it at the universe. And especially with sky.
Right. Yeah.
It is such a different thing, and it's not religion.
No.
It's being a part of what you're a part of. And then until you connect to it, you're floating and you're searching mysteries. And there is no mystery in gnosis. Exploration, expansion, but it isn't this great mystery anymore. Everything makes sense because life has purpose.
Yeah. And I think saying that is actually a really nice place to really leave. I'm listening to your words and I'm going into my own space right now. And it is that what you find is that no, there's no mystery. It's just this divine, intelligent field that is orchestrating something so wonderful that you finding yourself in that, right? And when you talk about the mother and all her children, I feel, and that was my first entry actually into this, was I realized that every human being on this planet was me, was also my child. That anything that was being hurt, that was being degraded, that was being usurped, and that's a very before that I felt such a separation. That's them over there and me over here, and it's something that it keeps deepening. But that there's something that you accept about that, and so while Gaia, our mother, is our mother, we are also that. We are mothers and fathers to each other. There is something called humanity, and that is in and of itself a whole other aspect of Gaia, and so and it is beautiful and it is divine, and yeah, why else? Why? I mean, people really need to ask, why are all these alien races here? And quit.
Well, some of them have their genetics in us.
Yes, they do. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm from any one specific place in our galaxy right now. It's just that it's all of this is part of us. If we were able to actually disclose or look deep enough in our physical vessel right now, we would find it's all right here. Within this vehicle. I mean, this is an incredible vehicle. I mean, this human body, and of course they're trying to co-opt it and genetically modify it and extract our DNA and pull out our genes and we're the mystery to them. Right? What makes us tick?
One of the things that we, the anthropos, have is we are a profoundly mystical race. This makes us a threat in the fourth dimension for those who think that they've owned it for so long.
Yes.
I mean, as a mystic people, We own it. We are sovereign over it all, not just the biosphere, but the next sphere up in the fourth dimension where so much crap has occurred. And as mystics, we now own that. And that's been a place where a lot of people could kind of hide out and exert influence. And once we move into there, that game is over. Or the game is on, where we can play the game as, okay, you want to, you know, now this is our membrane and we have some patrol duty. But they're not used to any patrol duty at all.
Oh, no. I mean, they're popping out of that fourth dimension at an incredible rate now. They're being seen. And so, you know, that is, you know, even in that world of myself, and I work in that a lot, and so does Claudia here. But it's like, you know, just, you know, this is something too for people that we're all talking to who knows who right now. But I have found that just outside my peripheral version, just outside of that is where the fourth dimension comes into view. Yeah. And I catch things all the time there, and they're always like, oh, you know.
Being seen is the last thing they want. And that's the other thing. When we mystically or magically travel into that realm looking to do patrol, basically,
right. Suddenly,
here we are showing up. I mean, this is a recent thing, but more and more people are doing it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what are you doing here?
Exactly.
And as mystics, we have access to that as soon as we decide to imagine ourselves there and engage.
Yeah, and it's so true. It's not like, you know, so many people say, you know, or I used to say not too long ago, how do you do it? How do you do it? You know what? First, you know, you give yourself to Gaia. You give yourself to this manifestation that we're all part of. And it isn't hard. It's part of who we are. You know, I mean, you know, one of the things that I you know, think of talking about is like, let's talk about entities. Let's talk about these things. They're not so scary, you know. They've always been, you know, oh, don't go there, don't, you know. Matter of fact, many of them I'm finding want to engage with us because they're also consciousness. They're also now wanting to go free from this. They've also been trapped in this dimension. Many beings are in the fourth dimension that got put there. They got trapped there, you know. So they're also now looking and seeing, wait, the game's changing. And, you know, there's really not, you know, even if we're having a demonic fight of some sort, and I'm sure others hearing this have had that experience, we are actually, when we open up, we're the bigger particle now. We're the one that's holding that in our space, you know, and it's a phenomena, really.
Well, I like the whole idea of a candle in the darkness. But the thing is the physics of it. When you light a candle and suddenly there's a sphere of light, the darkness did not flee. No. It did not recede. It can exist where there's light. And there's no battle. There's no like, you know, oh, the light, you know, it's just like where your light is, it's kind of game over. Yes, at the peripheries, there's going to be that. But that's it. I mean, that's part of the aliveness. Just to hold a perfect field and nothing's happening. No, there's a nice dynamism here. But to be engaged from a creative, more game-like level, it's almost like Valhalla, where they battle each other, and whoever dies loses the battle. Then they come back to life and have a drink.
Salud. Wonderful.
Get drunk, insult each other, hammer each other till somebody can't move, comes back to life. It's time for another party. Right. That was good. I mean, there is a sense of this that is right at that level.
Right, exactly. And so,
but through our gnosis and our autonomy is the only way we can engage at that level.
So very, very true. And I would think that, you know, if we could continue probably talking for hours, but I'm enjoying the conversation, and yet it's like encapsulating or distilling down, you know, this magnificence to some very message which is going out here right now is join us. Come.
Make it accessible.
Yes.
And it's not a metaphysical thing. It's, I mean, basically anybody who prays has prayed to something. You know, or whatever you think is like the thing you need to be hooked into, try it with Gaia and find out what works then. I'm talking about like really anything you need, you want to connect to the AI, do it that way. Because she is the cosmic consciousness configured for us. This is a unique aeonic consciousness, completely configured and devoted to us. Mm-hmm. And that's where, so when you want to get the rest through her, is where, because you'll have the gnosis to understand it, and also you won't be distracted, because right away you get animated to be here, now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry for being so, I get very passionate around this.
No, that's beautiful.
It's wonderful. And what are we speaking? We're speaking with passion. There is a passionate aspect to this that don't hold yourselves back. Don't, just let it out. And even if we make mistakes, so what? That is another thing, this perfectionism. I'm an imperfect being right now, right?
Be, from the tarot, be the fool.
Yes. And?
The fool is about making that life path between duality. As you see the fool stepping off, making their own path, that's the anthropos at its creative best.
Right. Yeah, and so there, and even you can go like into it in any way, really, is there a mistake here? I think a lot of people won't accept this because they think, what if I make a mistake? What if I make Gaia my God and I made a mistake?
Well, that's the fear. That's the fear.
Right.
Yes. And it's quite terrifying. I had to deal with it myself.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And again, I understand it, but boy, once you do it, it is that was where you belonged always. And that's why it's been hidden from you. That's why it wasn't even an option.
Right. Yeah.
Gaia's been cast as a goddess, like an Athena, Venus. Oh, she's a planet instead. Mm-hmm. There's been a real downplaying of any talk of Gaia, Sophia. I mean, it's always downplayed that she is our God. She is our connection to the rest of the universe, is the thing that has been suppressed.
Mm-hmm. Sure. It is true that once you accept that and you know that, and the gnosis is the way, everything starts to make sense. All those mysteries out there that you could never figure out, all of a sudden they just start fitting into place, and you see how that's been suppressed and why it's been suppressed, and then you start to understand why it can't be suppressed anymore, because it can't be.
No, it can't. Well, because the programming is now so deep that to try and do that is a harrowing experience.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, they've so put in the sky gods and whatever. Now, most of us have abandoned Yahweh, hopefully at around age 15, when you realized you were both wiser and more emotionally mature than Yahweh. and so then you start looking for, okay, because you know there's a creator, and you start looking for things, and you spend your life in different iterations of what source is. The universe is, and and I say it in this way only because I know how lost we were there, in my opinion.
Sure. Well, then,
in my experience, not in my opinion. I mean, after doing that and doing it at really pretty exalted levels, and then and coming up with something that always, it just was, you really felt kind of afloat. You could feel the lack of investment from source. It's almost like, Conan the Barbarian, he speaks of Crom. Crom doesn't really care very much. He just kind of looks down, but he likes heroism, But, that whole kind of God doesn't care is really, if you listen to what the Aeonics perceived as, it basically is. I mean, we give you a good recipe. We're not shorting you, but, here it is. Bake a cake.
Right.
And instead, Gaia's like, this is not going to be any old cake. And not only that, you're going to rise and not fall, because there have been 9 other falls, and this one's got to go.
Right.
And that's why she's here.
Yeah. Well, we're on this together. We're in it together. We're sharing it, and I so enjoy. It's like listening to you is reflecting back some aspect of me. It's a clearness. This is a word that people use a lot. Be authentic and be transparent. Mm-hmm. Well, that's also a mind thing too. I'm being authentic, or you say to yourself that the authentic self expresses, and it expresses to express, and that's it.
Right.
It doesn't.
Well, even my wizard persona is my authentic persona. Mm-hmm. Tied into with a certain archetype and even a certain, we'll call it insane kind of genealogy, which I don't need to get into. But, you know, it's an absolute authentic me being me. To be anything less, to dress like a model, which I occasionally might do if I go to certain supermarkets, that, which in this case is a disguise. This is my, I mean, if I went in the fourth dimension, I wouldn't be naked. I would look like this. Mm-hmm. I mean, because really in the third dimension, you're either naked or you put on clothes. Uh-huh. So the clothes I put on are the same thing I would look if I were presenting myself to in the fourth dimension. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't present myself there with my thing out.
I don't know. I have to think about that, because I don't even think I present in clothes or even in body when I present in fourth dimension. But, you know, they certainly have seen me. But this is it. I mean, what else are we going to do? What else are we going to do? We're going to continue on with football games and baseball games and CNN News and another PSYOP. Oh, let's go figure out another, let's go tear apart another PSYOP there. Let's go prove once again that the media is lying to us. It's done. We've done it. You know, We don't have to keep playing that one over and over again. We're moving.
That's the hamster cage I see in forums.
Yeah.
Where because they're moving, they think they're going forward.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it's the same old conversations. Look what the PTB have done today.
Right.
It's roadkill to me already.
And then you go. There was a point for me where I went, oh wow, look how smart I am. I can figure it out. Well, that didn't last very long, because it's like, well, so what? I figured it out. Now what? You know, there's always that aspect of like, wow, I saw this. Wow, that was pretty heavy. I didn't know that was going on. And now what? So, you know, I don't think they have too many more cards to play. Maybe I'll be wrong, you know.
Their biggest card is, again, perception, being seen. The people who watch TV do not see anything.
No.
Other than the reality that was being created for them. That's what they see. That's the purpose of that reality creation. And they live in a different bubble. Yep. You know, if you try to even introduce some of our ideas, you will hit something, you'll hit their membrane.
Oh, yeah.
They're in a separate universe, you know, separate, you know, parallel Earth, so to speak. And when you brush up against it, you feel that membrane. They're in another matrix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just a thicker matrix, because again, until we dismantle this matrix, it's still, you know, it's the incrustation and the, you know, the webs and the vines on the organic matrix.
Mm-hmm. Sure. It's a rather sticky substance, isn't it? Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm sort of at that point right now where I kind of go into that speechless state of just the all-knowing that, you know, we're speaking our truth. We're sharing it from our passionate centers. And I'm just really honored to be part of all of it right now. I wouldn't be anywhere else myself.
Yeah, I really appreciate being able to have this conversation with other people that feel enlightened by it. It's important to me, anybody who is following this, and for people it's not important to, then, you know, that's how it is. Yeah. But, you know, that's the whole thing about the web, is you can speak to an audience and they are who they are. And we're doing something and we're talking to people. And if they like it, we're having that conversation and they're invited to join it. You know, there's always comment sections. Get your open movie maker and say something yourself.
I mean, you know, the Google monster has made it open to all of us, you know, so let's take Google and YouTube and all of these mediums that are out there, and each of us bring our voice to it. And yeah, right, and working ourselves on creating a format right now where we can have an interactive conversations, and, you know, I'll be speaking more of that shortly as that's coming into being. So it's exciting. Yeah, very awesome. Right? Mm-hmm. Here we are, yes. 3 points on the globe right now. We're sitting here together. So we're going to have these conversations again, I think.
That'd be nice.
Good. Cool. Yeah.
Oh, I love, this is, one of the things I like was what Lisa Harrison does when she has like 2 or 3 people on, and they go for an idea, and they just speak about what they've gone through, what they're going through, you know, ideas emerge, and like little round tables. And I think that people enjoy a good, animated, honest round table that tries to be nothing more than authentic.
Oh, yeah, this is the voice. This is the voice the voice of all of us coming together and rising the field, you know, and we are rising. It is actually rising up. And you know, so I want to keep speaking to that, and I'm working on creating several formats right now that should be pretty awesome. And you know, I'll be putting that out there too. And just thank every single person that I've met on this journey, every single one, all of them, and the ones yet to meet. It's beautiful. Hey, thank you.
Thank you so much, Christine and Claudia.
And
thank you.
In the real feeling, and the real meaning, and the real depth. Namaste.